It is such a blessing to be back at the Binghamton University, the best university in the Northeast. I'm really excited to be here right now and talk to you a little about careers, a bit about careers. I am as passionate about career development as Marie Kondo is about rearranging closets. No lie. If you think about it, we actually spend 90,000 hours of our lives in our careers. I want to spend the next about 10 minutes to help you drive impact in that career and innovate that career. Something about me, I used to rap in high school. I know, me rapping in high school, those were different times. My best friend and I would write songs, record them, buy CDs, put those songs on the CDs, then sell the albums to our friends. That was my first product. And a demonstration of the 4 Ps that I'll be talking to you about today. The 4 Ps are people, projects, problem solving, and packaging. This same best friend introduced me to the guy who hired me for my first big boy job out of college. Essentially, straight out of college, I was the head of operations of a small startup in New York City. I was managing a team. I was building products, and had the privilege of working under a brilliant and kind entrepreneur. I learned a lot in those 3 years. But chiefly, I noticed that he spent a lot of his time talking to people. He would talk to customers, because of course you're trying to sell to them, you gotta talk to your customers. He would talk to investors, trying to get some money to build a business. He would talk to, of course, his staff on a regular basis. And a lot of his time was also spent inspiring other entrepreneurs, even competitors, making introductions. During nights and weekends, I started a second degree in computer science because I saw, as Ben Horowitz once said, that tech was eating the world. And I wanted to be a part of that change and be able to direct some of those changes. After I finished that second degree at Lehman College in the Bronx, I moved to Oakland, California, where I was working as a software engineer in San Francisco. I noticed when I touched down the severe lack of diversity in this industry that was starting to really take everything over. So I resolved to change that. My nights and weekends, I reached out to students at my 2 alma maters, usually via LinkedIn, and I offered my advice, my expertise on how to navigate a career into the burgeoning tech industry. About a year into this job, I realized that I liked coding, but I actually loved helping people get into tech a bit more. So when an opportunity at Lehman College opened up for me to move back to New York to do just that type of work, I jumped at the opportunity. So within a few weeks, I was back in the Bronx, helping computer science students navigate their fledgling tech careers. In that time, I quickly realized that my students didn't have quite enough time to absorb all the information that I could possibly give them about navigating a tech career. So I needed to simplify things. And thus, the 4 Ps were born. Since then, I've used the 4 Ps to coach various career switchers and early careerists, and now I use it in my work as a founding director at Kura Labs, where we train young people in developing tech and leadership skills to lead the infrastructure computing industry. So the first P, as I mentioned before, I'm probably going to say it a couple times so you remember it. That's my goal today. Is people. I will posit to you that anything of value that you're going to receive on this earth is going to come through people. So you might want to get really good at people. My favorite rapper, Tobin Wigwe, has a line in one of his songs: relationships are the greatest wealth. And I live by that. I gave you evidence already. My first product was born not only of our proclivity for rap music, but of our long-standing friendship and trust in one another. Our relationship led him, and his experience seeing me work and create led him to recommend me for a role that altered the trajectory of my career. So when I was at Lehman College, I would encourage my students to develop a community on campus of supporters, of sponsors, of mentors, professors, peers, people in their major, people outside of their major, people that they liked, people that were kind, and to do the same by going outside of the confines of academia and going out into the industry. In this case, it's the tech industry. Many of you from different backgrounds, whatever industry or interest you have, you can go out and attend various events, find communities that interest you, find people that affirm you, that inspire you, that make you feel like you belong. This is what we were able to do at Lehman College and what we do at Kura Labs as well now. My motto is always be connecting. I'll give you that one for free. The second P is projects. Projects are proof. In college, you want to go and do internships. Many of you are working jobs. You have various opportunities to create an impact. It's not just about the various inputs and activities that you're doing. It's really about what came out of that work that you did. Perhaps there's metrics associated with what you've done. People experience something that you created. For me, it was a CD. I've made flyers before. Some of you are artists. Some of you are writers. Some of you are journalists. Always be building. That's my other motto. And in the process of building, what you'll see is that you are working with people, you're being inspired by people, you are always going to be learning as well. So learning is a key output of building. The third P is problem solving. It's a very sexy word these days. For a reason. Most information can be Googled now. So some of y'all are great at memorizing, great skill, wish I had it. Google kind of does that for you these days. So it's actually really important that you have that ability to see any problem not as a bad thing, but as something that can be solved with the right attention, the right intention, enough time, of course, the right tools and the right information and ideas. I invite you all to be problem solvers and approach everything you do from the perspective of a problem solver. So when you do get to that interview, they do want to see that you're a subject matter expert. They may, depending on the type of role, but many roles that are emerging are looking for people who can process information, draw conclusions, come up with plans and steps to solve a problem. This is where it's helpful to have a mentor, a career coach, someone who can give you a mock interview very specific to the technical work that you'll be doing. That kind of interview will help you stress test your ability to think in the way that is expected of you in the industry, using the right frameworks, the right tools, the right ideas to get to a solution. Companies are more interested in how you get to the solution than simply knowing the answer or knowing a set of information. Lastly, the fourth P is packaging. Packaging is about helping people know about you. All of us here probably know about resumes. We talk about resumes. Send out your resumes far and wide across the ends of the earth. I did that when I graduated from Binghamton, and I never heard back from anyone. It's because I didn't have the right people, or enough of the right people at the time early on, and of course, later on, a job materialized through my high school friend, not even my Binghamton friend. I wasn't talking to my Binghamton friends, right, clearly. The ability to tell a story about who you are, what you do, most importantly, why you do it, and of course, where you're looking to go, is one of the most important skills to innovate in your career. Because again, you need to help people find you. So in your resume, which is a great document that tells a story about all the things you've accomplished, may not really speak to the why, but it does speak to the what. You should speak to those accomplishments, have those metrics in there. In your LinkedIn, you want to tell a similar story, but you have an opportunity to tell your why. Social media, in general, is a great opportunity, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. You can tell a coherent story. Twitter is great as well. I encourage you to use those platforms. And your elevator pitch, about 30, 45 seconds, depending on the context, can help you tell that story in a cogent way when you're in person, networking, meeting people on the subway, in lecture hall. Imagine busting out an elevator pitch in lecture hall. Or, of course, in an interview, when they ask you, tell me about yourself. You should be prepared to tell people about yourself. You'd be surprised how many folks cannot tell folks about themselves. These are the skills that we teach at Kura Labs, and we taught and continue to teach at Lehman College as well. So there you have it. Those are the 4 Ps of career success. Imagine a world where we all have the opportunity to work with kind people, to build things that solve problems, that interest us, that intrigue us. That's the world that I've been living in, and I invite you to use those 4 Ps to do the same. Remember, each one of you have 90,000 hours to drive impact into your career, to drive impact in your career, to build, to learn, to connect. Use that time wisely. The time is ticking. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak here today.